Hey everyone, Hallie here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about Battlefront, and more specifically, will we ever see a Battlefront 3 or a Battlefront 2 update? Now I know this has been on basically every single player's mind, at least it has certainly been on my mind, and I wanted to talk about it today and look at just some information that we know of, and just using our thinking caps to think of, will there ever be a content addition to the Battlefront series. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first of all, I want to talk about if there would ever be a Battlefront 3. It is certainly possible. However, first of all, it's not in development. And before we get into this, I just want to say that we don't have a definitive yes or no for if there will be a Battlefront 3 or not, or if there will be a Battlefront 2 content update. So that's just important to note. However, there are quite a few things that indicate, most likely this isn't going to happen. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about a Battlefront 3. Why will a Battlefront 3 most likely not happen? Well, I personally don't think it will happen because recently EA has announced that they are going to focus mainly on their internal IP. So they're not going to be making games like Battlefront. They're still going to be having studios like Respawn make the Jedi games. I guess just the series is called the Jedi, because it's Jedi Fallen Order and then Jedi Survivor. So those games are still going to be made. At least one additional game is going to be made. However, there was no indication recently that a new Battlefront would be created. Now, what are some issues that a new Battlefront game would face? Well, first of all, licensing. Licensing is a very big issue, especially with Disney, because Disney holds all the rights, and Disney is an incredibly greedy company. And not to mention, EA is also a incredibly greedy company that isn't doing particularly well right now. So it certainly is possible, just due to licensing alone and just the monetary aspect of that we won't see a Battlefront 3. Games such as Guardians of the Galaxy, even though it's on a huge franchise like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they released 3 movies, including a Christmas special that all did very well, a video game of that didn't do well. So who is to say that a Battlefront 3 could do well, despite, a high interest in the game currently? It's also important to realize why Battlefront 2 is having such a large resurgence right now. There are a few reasons, and I believe the main reason for that is the finishing of the Andor show. And a lot of people just have a kick for Star Wars again, and I personally kind of have a kick for Star Wars again. And so Battlefront 2 just fits a very perfect niche. And it's also important to note that, Battlefront 2 has been out for literally years, like I believe 8 or at least more than 7 years. So the game has had plenty of updates and has been refined over, quite a bit of time. So it's a very solid experience, and it's a cheap experience that people are able to hop into, because you can pretty much get the game on sale for $5, the full complete game on sale for $5. Pretty incredible. So a lot of people are interested in the game itself. So maybe, we won't see a Battlefront 3, but could we see a Battlefront 2 update? I'm going to share my personal opinion and some information, and I'm just going to say no. I highly doubt we will see a new Battlefront 2 update. It's important to note that Battlefront 2 really just had a resurgence in players very recently. So, no content is in the workshop for this game. I don't really know. I doubt anyone is even working on this game currently. So they would have to get developers back on this game that hasn't been worked on for years. So that's just something important to know. Most likely we won't have we won't see a content update. I would be incredibly shocked if we see a content update. However, one update I do actually think we could see added into Battlefront 2 at least is possibly an anti-cheat update for PC. Now, why do I say this? Well, because apparently on PC, at least for a lot of big streamers, just from, the gameplay that I've seen online, there is a huge cheating problem. You can't go into any lobby without seeing a cheater. This basically makes modes that aren't 2v2 modes, such as, Hero Showdown, it makes them impossible to play, because a cheater can just make the time limit for a match infinite and then just kill everyone So cheaters do what they do, they ruin the game. So I think it is certainly possible that we could see an anti-cheat update. And the reason I say this is because EA has done similar things in the past where they have gone back and patched anti-cheat without, giving it a content update. I can't think of anything off the top of my mind. This is me editing, and now I can think of 2 examples, and pretty bad examples, of EA doing this, and that is in Battlefield 1 and 5, where they added kernel-level anti-cheat due to hackers. It's just a very lazy workaround, and it's very possible that they could do this very lazy workaround for Battlefront 2, where then if you want to play the game, you have to allow EA kernel-level access into your computer. So it is a security risk and just something to think about. Hopefully EA doesn't do that, and it also would ruin the potential for custom servers, which are also a workaround for this that I mentioned in this video. But I did want to mention that as it came to my mind while editing. For instance, like the Titanfall games, I believe when those games had a massive resurgence, they released an anti-cheat update. So it is certainly possible we could see an anti-cheat update. And if we see any update to Battlefront 2, I believe it will most likely be a PC exclusive anti-cheat update, because there are no cheaters on PS5, at least not to my knowledge. I'm really not sure how you would cheat on a PS5. Maybe with like a keyboard and mouse, but then again, the game is so casual, I really don't know if that is that serious. But, just something to keep note of. I really don't think that there will be an update, but if there is, it will most likely just come to PC, and it will likely just be an anti-cheat update, which still kind of concerns me because it only takes some amount of time for cheaters to just find a workaround to the anti-cheat. So I don't know. Well, it is just something to think about, but if you are on console for the time being, the game is still a fantastic experience. I still can't speak to that of what it's like on PC because I don't play on PC. But, just something to keep note of. If you get this game, try to get it on the console, and just be wary of cheaters, because apparently people are cheating in a 8-year-old game, which is crazy. However, I don't want you to lose hope. If you're a PC player, in particular, you might be a little bummed out. However, I guarantee I personally can't speak to what the custom modded scene is like on PC. However, I'm sure there are custom lobbies similar to how Call of Duty and the older Call of Duty games have custom, custom software for set up by fans where they can deal with like cheaters and host their own servers and stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind. I would look into that if you are a PC player. And if you're a console player, the game is still a fantastic experience as it is. I play on PlayStation myself, and I can pretty much find a game instantly, no matter what game mode, which is really incredible. And the game is so fantastic. So be sure to check it out if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure it's on sale. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I wanted to talk about if Battlefront will ever get any new content in the future. And to be quite honest, I don't think it will. I think it will just be anti-cheat. But let me know what you all think down in the comments below. Do you think there will be a content update? Do you think we could see a Battlefront 3? Never say never. Maybe in like 20 years we'll see it, but let me know what you all think down in the comments below. I'm really interested. And special thank you to my YouTube members, Ash Tree Dweller. If you'd like to be a YouTube member, check that out. It's only $1 a month. So with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. It really does mean a lot. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.